Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and in this video I'd like to discuss a defection this week from the Conservatives to Reform UK. This may be the biggest defection yet. It's not an MP or any politician. It's not a major donor either, although there's been some of that. This, I think, is more damaging. It's Tim Montgomerie, who has been one of the Tories' most prolific activists for years. And losing someone who was so committed to the Conservative Party that they put in so much of their time promoting them really could be a sign of the end days for the Tories. But first, for daily political commentary, please click the subscribe button so you don't miss out. So you may or may not know who Tim Montgomerie is. He created the Conservative Home website. It's a site where Conservatives of all stripes will post their thoughts and analysis, essentially a forum to share and promote Conservative ideas. It's also very influential with Conservative MPs, past and present, regularly contributing articles to the site. Someone who would put so much time and effort into a project like that is really committed to the Conservative Party. But not anymore. He's gone. And he's gone to Reform UK. Now, this bears thinking about. In political circles, he's already a well-known commentator. Conservatives certainly listen to what he has to say. He didn't need to leave the Conservative Party in order to keep having his say. He advised Boris Johnson, for example. Even if his politics was more aligned with Reform UK than the Conservatives, he could still have remained one of those voices inside the Conservative Party calling for them to essentially become more like Reform UK from the inside. He's not a politician. He doesn't have to toe any party line. He can say what he wants as a member of either party just as easily. So the question is this: why did he leave the Conservative Party, Reform UK? What was the practical benefit? An activist of his stature must have done so for some practical purpose. His stated reason, or the last straw he says anyway, was the updated publication of the 2023 immigration figures last week. But on the face of it, this doesn't make sense. Okay, yes, we get he's an anti-immigration Conservative, right? Famously, there are a lot of them, even in the Conservative Party. And sure, the Conservatives actually enacted policies in the last Parliament which increased net immigration substantially, indeed to record levels. But Montgomerie essentially supported the policies which led to it. Deciding he didn't like the results doesn't mean he didn't support it. Remember, he was an advisor to the government at the time. But that's by the by. Even if he thought that the Conservatives failed on immigration, as he plainly does, and even if he doesn't feel that he was responsible for the moves which led to it, the Conservative Party which did it are in the past. Why wouldn't he just use the figures which the majority of Conservative MPs and members acknowledge openly as failures and work on persuading policymakers to develop a realistic strategy to get the sort of results they all seem to want? Why hop across to Reform UK? Because like I say, he's essentially an activist. Moving to Reform UK means he must want to use his skills and influence to promote Reform UK openly, not the Conservative Party. The only reason for someone like that moving. Regardless of what reasons he gives, that is the only reason possible. He wants to openly promote Reform UK at the next election, and he wants to have a long run-up, hence the reason for defecting so early in the parliamentary cycle, when, for all he knows, the Conservatives could be working on immigration policies more to his liking over the next few years anyway. He's got no idea what the next Conservative manifesto is going to look like. What's happened here is Montgomerie has decided that the Tories are a failed party at this point, that if he's going to see the sort of government he wants to see, it will be driven by Reform UK. Now, that's not necessarily formed by Reform UK. You know, he's no mug. I think he gets a lot of things badly wrong, but he's no fool. He will know that Farage isn't going to be Prime Minister. But we don't know that Farage genuinely intends Reform UK to take over from the Conservatives anyway. He might, but equally he might just want to act as a pressure to get the Conservative Party to turn themselves into a better resourced version of his party, at which point his work is done. And now Reform UK have someone who's good at promotion and organising influence. And I've often thought it is a great failing of all political parties in this country that they do not recognise the benefits of having commentators backing their cause. There's never any attempt to foster these activists. It's all part of the same thinking around social media. Political parties just don't understand that they can have direct access to as many members of the public as the mainstream media do, only without the billionaire editorial filters in place. Whenever a party has a prominent campaigner, it's never as a result of encouragement from the party. They always do it themselves on their own efforts. Montgomerie is a particularly successful version of this sort of super activist, and the Tories have lost him. I wonder if they even realise just how big a blow this is for them. Someone who gets regular slots on the TV, who has set up successful lobby websites, and now he's going to be working in the interests of Reform UK. Does he think Reform UK really are an emerging power on the right wing, or does he just think he can influence Conservative Party policy more effectively externally by promoting Reform UK and scaring the Conservatives into becoming like Reform UK than he can inside the Conservatives, where it maybe feels they're just not listening? Either way, this is net good for anyone who would like to put off the day when a Conservative Party returns to government for as long as possible. Because Montgomerie will be a more valuable defection than Lee Anderson and Andrea Jenkins combined. Like, neither of those former Tory MPs have any special skills. They're just puppets parroting lines in return for relevance and a few magic beans. Montgomerie is capable of strategic thinking and provably getting things done, as his success with Conservative Home and similar projects shows. Now, past records don't guarantee future success. He may not be a stunning success for Reform UK, but it is probably fair to say that he will be at least net positive for boosting their appeal. So if his skills are put to use by Reform UK, and Nigel Farage has certainly welcomed him warmly, then who is he going to be persuading to switch to Reform UK? It's not likely to be Labour or Lib Dem voters, is it? You know, he's pretty far on the right wing. He doesn't really appeal to Labour or Lib Dem voters very much. No, it's Conservative voters, isn't it? I think we've already had a taste of what's to come from his stated reasons for defecting. He's likely to play on the way Conservative voters have been unhappy about the Conservative government, and the fact that maybe the party seems unreformable because they're still not facing up to certain truths. If you'll pardon the expression, they're unreformable. And that Reform UK are the real Conservative Party without the baggage. Basically, I think he's going to be persuading Conservative voters that the pragmatic choice for the sort of change they want is not the Conservative Party, but Reform UK. And no matter how successful he is at doing it, that is going to mean Conservative candidates have a tougher time at the next election in our first past the post system. And that will be to the benefit of any party challenging them, mostly Labour and the Lib Dems. But there we are. Those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, please click the like button. And if you'd like to support the channel further, you can join for memberships. Thanks for watching. And until next time, I'll see you later.